I'm North Hempstead Town Supervisor Judy Bosworth, and I, along with our town board, are proud to present At Home with North Hempstead, a series of special programs for children, seniors, as well as entertainment for residents of all ages. We hope you enjoy this special presentation and check back often for new content.
Hey, James Hong, Director of Instruction at Harbor Links Golf Course right here in Port Washington, New York. And here I am amongst some of my Lego Star Wars collection. Anybody that knows me knows I love Lego Star Wars. Now I know what's going on. You're practicing social distancing, so you're stuck at home just like I am. And what happens is it's a little frustrating. You can't get to the golf course, you can't get to the driving range. So the problem is how in the world am I going to practice? And I can't even play any golf. So what I'm going to show you is how you can stay at home and still practice effectively and make it fun while you're at it. First things first. Hey, I got no golf balls, or I can't hit golf balls inside of my house. I'm going to do a lot of damage. Well, you have a couple of options. Number one, if you can use foam golf balls. So you can see these here. They're very soft. They're very spongy, right? These are very cheap. You can get them from some online store somewhere on Amazon. Now, watch. See, no damage. Now, if you don't have foam golf balls, well, guess what? Take an old sock and roll it up. So watch what I do here. I can take this, I can ball it up like that. And now all of a sudden, I've got myself a little practice ball. See, I've got two of them here. No damage whatsoever, right? No problems. So now you got yourself a couple of golf balls that you can practice with. Okay, that's great, James. You showed me how I can make a sock ball, but I got nowhere to hit balls from. So what you can do here is you can just take a towel and put it on the floor, preferably on top of a carpet that you can hit off of, just like this. And now you've got yourself a mat. So you can make practice swings off of this, or you could just take your sock ball, and now you can practice this way. Now I have low ceilings here, so I'm probably only going to take half swings, but this is really good. I can even work on my chipping or pitching down here. So here I am. I'm setting up with my club. I'm going to make a little half swing. And I can still hit a ball, work on my game. But what if I don't have any golf clubs? It's okay. There are so many things you can use that can help you learn how to swing a golf club. So here I've got some rope. I've got a wiffle ball bat. I've got a badminton racket. You could use a tennis racket. Look, I even got a shoehorn here. Any one of these you can use to work on your swing. So I can stand here with the shoehorn, for example, and still work on different things in my swing. Anything that gets me mimicking or practicing the proper movements is really going to help me in the long run. Okay, so let's say none of that works for you, right? So what we could do is what's called dry swings or dry movements. And what that is that you don't have to have a golf club in your hand. You can be doing all of the same movement patterns with your body that you would be doing in the golf swing. You're still practicing. So for instance, I could be setting up here with my feet about shoulder width apart, and I'm crossing my arms across my shoulders and chest like this. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be turning into the backswing like this and turning into the follow through. So again, the backswing turn, I'm going to be turning this way, and you can see on my shoulders, my back would be to my imaginary target. And then when I follow through, I'm going to be following through like this. And you notice how when I'm done, my chest is facing forward, my belly button is pushed forward, and I'm standing completely on my front leg, which in my case as a right-hander would be the left side. So I'm standing this way. So I could just be practicing this movement back and forth like this, maybe 10, 15 times in a row like that. And it's also a good stretch for your back. So it's multi-purpose. Okay, I've got my shoulder turned down. What am I going to do in terms of my lower body? Well, what I'm going to be doing here, again, crossing my arms across my chest and shoulders. I'm going to take my golf stance, and notice my feet are about shoulder width apart. And from here, I would turn into my backswing. And then now when I follow through, be right up into my finish. And again, there I am, facing my target. My chest and stomach are forward. Notice I'm standing on my front foot. And what I'm going to try and do to work on my balance is, can I hold this position for 3 seconds? 1, 2, 3. And I can do that 10 times, where each time I set up there, turn into my backswing, follow through, 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. I've got myself a nice little chipping practice area right here in my basement. And what I did was I created landing targets using paper bowls, paper plates. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to practice landing the ball where I want, because that's an important thing to learn how to do when you're chipping. You want to land the ball somewhere, control where it lands so that it rolls to the hole. Now, this is something that you can practice on your own, or maybe you can play a little game with someone like a friend, or maybe your brother, sister, parent, grandparent. So let's see how I do here. Almost got it into that paper plate. So again, great way to practice your chipping. Let's say I want to work on my putting, and maybe at home you have a carpet that you can putt on, or you have a putting mat. Well, you can create some interesting training aids for yourself. So in this case, I already mentioned I like Legos. So I created a nice little gate for myself with my Legos, and I can work on my putting by putting through the gate here. So I'm setting up there. It's only about a foot away from the ball, and I putt it. See, it goes right through. Another thing you can use instead of Legos, if you don't have something like that, is just simply coins. And what you would do is just create a gate for yourself there, just like that. And can you putt the ball in between the coins like this? Here's another really good tip for putting. I've got 2 quarters piled up right behind the ball. And what this is going to help you with is that you don't hit the ground when you're putting. So sometimes what happens is I see people, they're putting and their putter is hitting the ground. So what you're doing here is you're practicing hitting the ball or putting the ball instead of hitting the ground. So I set up there. You can see I don't touch the quarters at all. A fun way to practice at home is to maybe take your living room and turn it into a miniature golf hole. So what you can see here, I've grabbed anything I could, from pool noodles to cushions and pillows. Got a roll of toilet paper here and another one of paper towel, sneakers, anything I could find to create a nice challenging hole for myself. So the goal is, how many shots does it take me to get the ball to roll into the hole here, this coaster, without either going out of bounds or hitting this club? That would be speed control. So if my ball touches any of these borders or any of these obstacles, I would give myself a penalty shot. So let's see what happens now. So I'm going to set up here. Let's see how I do. So there's one. Ooh, just short of the sneaker there. There's 2. Up. Hit the paper towel. So I'm going to give myself 1 penalty shot. That's 3. There's 4. Let's see if I can finish it off here with a 5. There we go. So that's a 5. I can do this again, see if I can get a better score the second time around, or you can play this with other members of your family. Another thing you can do is maybe create a hole in every room of the house, and now you've got yourself a nice little homemade miniature golf course. If you're able to be out in the backyard and practice, this is a great way for you to start working on your swing. What you can do is, in case you don't have a mat like you would at a driving range, what you can do is you can use just a simple old welcome mat from the front door or the side door, or just find something like an old mat like that maybe you have in your garage, and that can be your practice mat. So maybe what you're going to do is take some practice swings, and now you've got something that you can take swings off of. If you're lucky enough to have a net like I do, then maybe you can hit some balls this way. Now you'll also notice I've got my foam noodle out here. And what I'm trying to do, you can do this one of 2 different ways. You can try and hit the ball just to the right of the foam noodle, or you can actually try and hit the foam noodle, whichever one you prefer. So I'm going to try and hit it just to the right of the foam noodle. Let's see how I do here. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I can continue practicing like this in the backyard with all of my golf clubs. What you can always do when you're working on your chipping is just create different targets here. So in this case, what I've done is I've used a couple of pool noodles here, and they're way down so it doesn't blow away in the wind. And I've got my welcome mat here, and I'm just going to chip a couple of balls. And so what I'm trying to do is can I chip the ball and land the ball in this spot? So just like when we were inside, we were trying to land the ball inside of the paper plates. Now I'm outside, and I'm going to see if I can chip it in between those two pool noodles here. So I set up here. Let's see what happens. So you can see I landed it inside of there. So now I can control my landing area. And what I'll do is maybe I'll chip 5 times. I'll just keep going until I get 3, maybe 5 or 3 balls inside of there. And once I do that, then I'll change it, and I'll just take this front noodle and move it back 1 like this, just out of the camera view. And I'll see if I can chip another 3 to 5 balls in there. Just like that. All right? So that's one way you can practice your chipping. You saw me using foam noodles. Here's another way of doing it. Now I'm actually using old fry pans that I found in my garage. So what I'm going to try and do here is when I chip, I'm trying to land the ball in the fry pan. Let's see if I can do it now. Some of you may not have any golf clubs. Well, like I was talking about inside, you can use anything from a wiffle ball bat. Here I've got just like a thin piece of PVC pipe. I've got a badminton racket, and I've even got this alignment stick here. So you could use any one of these. Here I could use the badminton racket and make some swings. Or I could take the alignment stick and kind of do what we were doing indoors, which is do some of these turns here. So I've got my chest turn here. I've got my hip turn here. I can work on any of these things. I can even work on speed if I want to. And be careful not to let go of the stick. Trying to hear the whoosh sound. Maybe using the badminton racket, doing the same thing. Just trying to create some speed in my swing like that. And remember, another thing you can work on, can I hold my finish at the end of the swing? A lot of things you can do in your backyard. You may remember the tip that I gave about practicing in your backyard, putting a pool noodle in front of you. Well, now let's make it a little bit more challenging. And this is good. It doesn't matter what level player you are. You could be a beginner, intermediate, or even advanced level player. It's really important to know how to control the club face of your club for really good golf shots. So the club face is this part right here, the part that hits the golf ball. And where that points is really going to have a lot to do with what kind of a shot you're going to end up hitting. So here's a great way for you to practice this in your backyard. So now, like I said, this is a little bit more challenging than just the single pool noodle. Now I've put 2 sticks out there. It's kind of like trying to kick a field goal here. So now what I want to do is I want to practice controlling my club face. So as I set up there, let's see if I can hit one right in between them. Three points there for a good field goal. I'm going to try and do that with basically all of the clubs in my bag. Yeah, I know, short game practice can get pretty boring. So why don't we make it a little bit more challenging, a little bit more interesting, and you can even grab a friend or a relative and turn it into a competition. So what I've done here is I've created a tic-tac-toe board with a couple of foam noodles and some alignment sticks. So you saw me already go for the high right box. Let's see if I can go for the middle box right here. Pretty good there. So again, great way to practice your short game.